Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi everyone. Today we are talking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, known as AI, is a branch of computer science that uses algorithms, data, and computational power to create machines that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. Marlee Strawn brings almost 2 decades in educational leadership, including founding and leading a trailblazing school with top ratings and national recognition. She's deeply committed to integrating innovative solutions in education for transformative outcomes, such as developing and implementing an AI-powered platform and personalizing education for a diverse range of learning needs. Marlee, I'm so excited to talk with you today.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that really nice intro.
Absolutely. Okay, let's start off with what's something you've recently learned about yourself?
I have realized that I still carry a lot of imposter syndrome, even after years of quote unquote success in leadership. And going into this AI space for the first time, it's showed up a lot and been highlighted for myself a lot this past year. And it really shows up in my decision making. I second guess myself. And, sometimes I find myself feeling uncomfortable in rooms of people who I feel like might be more deserving. So I've really had to do a good job at like checking and pausing in with myself and just reminding myself that I'm in the room for a reason. And what I've found is when I stop and reflect, I really surprise myself with what I am bringing to the table and contributing in ways I really didn't expect.
Oh, I love that so much. And it's so common. Like
Yes.
imposter syndrome, I hear about more than not.
Yes, I agree.
And after talking with you and your background on AI, I mean, there's a lot of people out there talking about AI. I was definitely impressed. And so that's why we're here today, because I wanted to dig into this more with you.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what made you first deep dive into AI.
Yeah, and I think this is part of the reason why I still have imposter syndrome is because what really makes me unique in the AI space is I'm not a technical person. I don't have a computer engineering background, but I really am a practitioner of all technology, even as a classroom teacher, as a principal. I always thought to myself, how can I leverage the latest and greatest technology to support my students and my teachers? So when AI was introduced, AI is a very broad category of things, but when generative AI, aka ChatGPT, entered the space and was in the hands of every person in the world, I asked myself, like, how can I leverage this technology in the education space? So I think what makes me unique is that I'm very much relentless in my pursuit to learn. So, what happens when I am introduced with something, I do a deep dive to try to figure out how it works so that I can understand how to leverage it in whatever capacity I'm in. So, I did that in the classroom as a teacher, I did that as a principal, and now with being the co-founder at Scholar Education, I'm constantly taking the initiative to just learn as much as I possibly can about the new innovations that are coming out of the AI space so that we can leverage that to support teachers and students in ways that we've never done so. I also just feel that education is one of the last places to innovate, which should not be the case. At the end of the day, like, education should be the first place to innovate. So when generative AI and ChatGPT started to take the world by storm, I really wanted to change that. I wanted education to be one of the first places to innovate, to one of the first places to think about how to leverage this very sophisticated technology in ways that can support students and teachers in ways we've never thought possible.
Oh, I really, really like this a lot because you're right. As I'm thinking about education and innovation, it isn't always what we think about, like in schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that my daughter's school is very innovative and they do things very differently. And that's why she goes there. But when I think about her going to other schools, that's one of my hesitations.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
what does that look like when you are bringing this in and implementing this? What does it look like when it's thriving and you're using AI?
Yeah. So when there's a lot of hesitancy about and fear around AI. So what I always advocate for is think to yourself in whatever capacity you're in. So for me, it's education, but no matter what role you have, if you are doing customer service, or if you are even a cash register, like think about anything that you're currently doing and what are your most time consuming tasks. And then I always start with, okay, let's make a list of those time consuming tasks and let's think about ways that what it would look like. Let's just paint a perfect world because, ideally with AI, it's almost like having a magic wand, anything's possible. So let's think about what the perfect world would look like if those tasks were automated for you. And that really is like the best place to start with AI. So when AI is thriving, it's really just acting as a catalyst for you to be more innovative and efficient in whatever role or capacity you're in. And it really can be helpful for anybody. And what you'll see is like it will allow teams of people or individuals to just have more bandwidth to focus on what really matters. It's taking those mundane tasks and just making them faster so that you can focus on the problem solving and the things that really push the needle. So it's really bringing clarity and insights to people and allowing them to operate in their like pure zone of genius, allowing them to focus their attention on the things that is really they're passionate about and the things that really matter in the whatever business they're in.
So, if you think about being an entrepreneur, what is one easy way to implement some type of AI strategy?
Oh, there's so many. Here, I'll give an easy way. Okay, so I'm a co-founder of Scholar Education. We're a startup. We're a little under 2 years old as a company, and I have a very small team. It's just me. I have one other full-time employee and a part-time employee, and I'm running an entire ecosystem where we're innovating, developing, selling, marketing, and what I've done is I've leveraged ChatGPT to essentially assist me in all of those tasks. For example, marketing. That's a perfect way. I mean, every company to some capacity is going to be marketing, whether it's you are marketing, for me, I'm marketing like the types of features that we're building out and why people would want to sign up for our company. Whether you're a principal like I was and you're marketing why you should sign up and bring your kid to the school. But I'm able to create in ChatGPT ideas, really just to generate ideas. What are some really unique ways to market X, Y, and Z very quickly? So I think of the current state of AI as really just triggering, catapulting ideas. It's giving you a place to start in a much faster way so that you, the expertise, can just move in a faster pace. So my first thing I do, whether it's responding to an email or coming up with ideas for how to market a new feature, is I just do a brain dump in ChatGPT. And it helps me articulate those, and it helps me organize those. It helps me prioritize those in a way that would be like having the smartest, partner that at your fingertips 24/7,
Yeah.
right? So they never need to take a break. So it's really just, I would not be able to run my company every single day without leveraging AI constantly, because it's like having just that checks and balance, and it's having the smartest partner at your fingertips 24/7, and it's just really helping me articulate my ideas in ways that I I might be able to do, but in a much faster way.
So good. So, what if somebody is too scared, right? They're freaked out about AI
Mhm.
and they're leading by fear. They don't want to embrace it. What's going to happen potentially for that person?
We see this a lot in education.
Mhm.
In fact, statistics are showing things like about 70% of students are using AI tools like ChatGPT. But when it comes to teachers, it's more like 35%, which is a huge discrepancy.
Mhm.
So, and it has to do with fear. And it's a fear of maybe not knowing how to use the technology, a fear of maybe not understanding the technology, a fear of, a narrative that's been out there that it's going to replace the human. And the reality is, AI is going to transform every industry, and there very well be jobs that are, I don't want to say replaced with AI, but they are forced to evolve. They're going to
Mhm.
change. What that job looks like is going to look different. Even as a teacher, it will look a little different because now we have a new technology to help support us. Now, I think that we don't really know the answer to the question about what if you are, what if you're just saying, nope, not going to do it. I just feel like the reality is most people don't realize they already are using AI on a daily basis. They they just might not understand that it's under the giant umbrella of AI that exists. Um, but if you're using Netflix or if you're watching, anything on a streaming service that's making recommendations to you, or you're using face recognition to open up your phone, these are all versions of AI. If you're talking to Siri or Alexa, these are all AI tools. So I think the reality is there's a lot of fear because there's a general narrative of not know understanding how it works. Um, but I think, and that's why one of the things I always advocate for is to understand truly that it's just generative AI, ChatGPT, it's just a sophisticated computer program. And it's
Yeah.
just a sophisticated program that's trained to predict an outcome. And aside from that, it's pretty basic, right? That if you just use that definition, you're like, oh, okay, that's not that complicated. And I think that what will hold companies back from innovating is not getting ahead of the curve
Yeah.
and being intentional about their AI adoption. Ignoring it is not the answer. I always advocate for companies to stop and think about your AI policy.
Yeah.
And you probably don't have one because why would you 2 years ago? But like stop and create like an AI task force. Think about how we can, put procedures in place to support the use of AI, put very clear expectations about when it can and cannot be used. We're seeing that in schools. Like we're seeing, news headlines about schools not explaining, failing kids because they were flagged as using ChatGPT, but the kid didn't understand. And you're thinking to yourself, well, how do they not understand? Well, because they're 14 and they don't understand.
Right.
So being very intentional is really going to be the key here in every industry, in creating a policy around what is expected of you, of your employees, or yourself, about how to use AI is the best way that I would say to get started.
Yeah, you really laid that out well. Thank you. I'm just thinking, of course, how I can be using it more, and there's so many more opportunities for me. Right now, I use a chat GPT a lot for translating from English to Spanish with a woman that I work with, and I do follow-up reports after coachings. And so I
Mhm.
always have the English and Spanish version, and it's
Yeah, and
extremely helpful.
with the new voice feature, it's like having a translator in your pocket, right? I mean, I've talked to so many people about different ways that they're using it, but the best way to get started is just to start at a free account
Right.
and start getting in there, because what I often hear is like people have this aha like magical moment, like I created an entire 2025 game plan for my company, you know, in a couple of minutes. And they're just shocked about the capacity. It's going to change the world forever. It already has. But just getting in there and thinking about ways, and whether I keep talking about industry, but guess what? I use it to help me create recipes. I
Yeah.
use it to help me create workout plans. I use it in my personal life a lot. And really, honestly, it's replaced the use of Google for me. Instead of going to
Wow.
Google to research, I go to ChatGPT, because unlike Google, which is going to just basically give you responses based on like popularity and search engine optimization, ChatGPT is going to it's going to search based on what is the expected outcome, assessing everything on the internet. So I
Mm.
find my research is cut down in half. So like when I say I'll create a recipe, I also have like all it the context of like what I like. I don't like onions, or I do like onions. All of those things are considered in my search on ChatGPT, rather than hunting and gathering on Google.
Oh, okay. I'm on that. I have a bunch of food allergies, so that is always a task, right?
Mhm.
So, talk to us about somebody in your life that has had a really significant impact on you.
Yeah, honestly, it's my husband. We've been together since
Mm,
college, and because I do have a lot of self doubt, I talked about that imposter syndrome. He has been the one that's like a cheerleader for me and pushed me to do things that I never imagined. Like I never thought that I would open a school, you
yeah.
know, and fun fact, I had just had my first son the same year that I built the school. It was a challenging year for me, and I had doubt about whether or not I could balance it all. And because I had him supporting me, that was a big reason why I decided to make the leap and do the once in a lifetime opportunity of opening a school. And same thing with starting this AI company. I had a lot of doubt. I don't have an engineering background. I don't feel like I'm the smartest person in the room all the time. I think to myself, oh, I'm considered an expert in AI. Well, that seems silly. I'm, I'm not an engineer. But he really like gives me confidence that I don't necessarily have naturally.
So sweet. How about a quote that you feel really embodies AI?
So I think in general, this quote just has always resonated with me as a leader, and it's "Let your resilience be your signature." And for me, what it is, it's just a reminder that we're always going to have setbacks, and we're always going to potentially fail, or things aren't going to go necessarily the way that we thought they would go. And we can't let those things set us back. And those are going to propel us in different directions. I never thought I would be starting a tech company. um, and there's a lot of ways I could reflect back on how I got here, but resilience is always the foundation of making good decisions. Just putting, I've always been like the believe in being the hardest working person in the room, making sure that you are proving your value and just don't let any setbacks stop you from moving forward. So I try to instill that even in my teachers or people who work with me now, because you're going to fail, you're going to have setbacks. And typically they end up working in a way that was better than you expected.
Yeah. It's always learning for me. A setback
Mm-hmm.
isn't a setback. It's just more growth, right?
Yeah, agree.
All right. Anything else before we wrap up with your favorite snack?
No, like I said, I would advocate for everybody to just, if you haven't started, and I use ChatGPT because that's my favorite tool, but there are other ones out there that other people like better. You can explore Gemini, Perplexity, any of those free AI tools. Just go create an account and start playing around. Once you start to play around, you're going to learn that it's very simple to use, and you're going to come up with all of these amazing ways to use it in your personal and professional life. And it's really going to be life changing.
Awesome. Okay. What's your favorite snack?
So my favorite snack is, a fancy way of saying it is charcuterie. But to be honest with you, it's just meat and cheese. It makes me
Yes.
feel like it's simple, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something indulgent.
I love it. That's awesome. Marlee, I am so excited for you and your future and everything that you're building. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.